Fintech Festival, and here with you, Anna Tutova, and as well our guest, Qin En Looi, who is a partner at Saison Capital, and as well Onigiri Capital, which is specifically dedicated to investment into real-world assets projects. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us about your story? You're the founder of one of the leading Korea talent platforms, Glints,
Sure.
which is a unicorn, right?
12 years ago, I started a recruitment tech startup. Today, it is one of the largest HR and recruitment tech startups in the region. It's called Glints, and it has raised more than $80 million. We were the first generation of venture-backed founders, and I built the company from zero to post-Series A. After that, I left, went back to Stanford to complete my undergraduate education, and then came back to work with BCG Digital Ventures to help corporates to build startups. In 2021, I saw the broader opportunity that blockchain was having, and so I decided to make the switch into venture capital. So I joined my current employer, Saison Capital, which was then a purely fintech fund. Together with a team, we launched the blockchain investment side of Saison Capital. And even though in 2022, when the markets came down, we still continued to invest in the blockchain space, especially in stablecoins and tokenized assets, and have done relatively well. So what happened is at the end of last year, we decided, hey, why not let's set up a new fund that is solely focused on this blockchain and financial services strategy and invite other financial institutions to join us. Because we noticed that more and more banks and asset managers wanted to understand the implications of this technology. So Onigiri Capital was born out of it. We just launched the fund 2 months ago in September.
Yeah, now more and more traditional players moving into blockchain,
Yep.
the application of stablecoins and so on.
Correct.
So why did you decide to shift from being a founder to become a VC investor?
Yeah, I think there's so many lessons that I learned from being a founder. Also, as a founder who has raised capital before, I felt like I had I had experienced what good investors look like and what not so good investors look like. So I think that really helped me strengthen my resolve that being an investor was a good way that I could contribute back to the ecosystem, having been a founder before. I think it's not common to find such investors in this region who actually have built a company, understand the challenges. So I thought that being an investor could put me in that good position, and also to serve others, right, and to help other founders. Secondly, also being an investor, it's amazing because you are basically what I like to say, you get paid to learn. So there's so many new, like for example, I was relatively new to blockchain before I joined the VC, right? But because as a VC, every day you meet so many founders who are building at the cutting edge of this space, there's just so much that I managed to learn and grow from as a result.
So what are you looking at the pitch of this or that company? As being a former founder, what's your tipping points?
I think the tipping point is really around founders who think about distribution and how they're going to get customers, right? Especially in the blockchain space, because a lot of products are built on smart contracts, for example. The code is public. Anyone can go in to copy it. So there's not really a differentiation from a technology perspective most of the time. But what differentiates founders and startups is the ability to get customers. So I really like it when founders really focus on how do I get customers. If they have an unfair advantage in distribution or go-to-market, that's perfect for us.
Yeah, now especially there are so many projects and none of them really get traction.
Correct. Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's about finding customers, getting the real revenue, getting real users. I think that's what matters to us.
So any advices you have for the projects, for the founders, how to get those customers?
I think always think about what is your unfair advantage, right? It could be people that you know, it could be groups that you trust, partners you have always worked with. One thing I find, especially in the blockchain space, is naturally the founders here have very large ambitions and goals, which is great, but start small, right? Like you don't need to sell your product to the whole world at the start. You just really need to find one country, one market, one segment, and really focus on making them happy and then grow from there, right? So I think that the idea is to really start small, but find your first 1, first 10, first 100 true fans.
That's a great advice.
Yeah.
And as well. So you joined Saison Capital
Yep.
back in 2021.
Yeah.
So did you discover blockchain and crypto with them, or
Yeah.
did you bring to them that idea to start investing in blockchain-related companies?
I would say it's really both, right? Of course, I heard about blockchain before. I embraced Bitcoin. But really, at the end of the day, at that point, blockchain was very much a trading thing, right? You buy it, you hope that the price goes up, and then you make money. But I think really after I joined Saison and understanding fintech, then that really helped me to understand, okay, actually blockchain, well, the first use case is crypto as we know it, Bitcoin, Ethereum. But the second big use case is really in financial services. Today, this seems obvious because everyone's talking about stablecoins here at SFF. But 3 years ago, especially after Terra Luna, after FTX, that was very unpopular, right? But I think for us, we were fortunate that we managed to see this opportunity and to be able to jump on it.
And do you invest yourself into Bitcoin, Ethereum?
Yeah, of course. You have to. I always say you have to experience and live the space. So I don't just own that. I actually put some of my personal capital in the companies that we invest in to be a user, for example, right? Because I feel like at the end of the day, the best way to do due diligence is to use the product if you can, right? Then that's the best way to figure out whether or not this is a good product.
Yeah, that's true. So what are your altcoin picks currently?
Altcoin picks. Well, I mean, I have done. I've invested quite a lot in Ethereum, but obviously the more recent one will be Hype as part of Hyperliquid. Look, I think at the end of the day, that's more on the personal side of things, right? But I think for the fund itself, what we really look out for, it's I would say the more usual business metrics, the fundamentals, right? We look at things like revenue, we look at things like profitability, and also what's interesting, it's when we first started, we like to do a lot of tokens, but very quickly we realized that tokens might not be the best store of value, especially in stablecoin or payment companies. Of course, if you're doing DeFi, a token makes sense, right? But actually for these stablecoin payments, tokenized assets, the good old equity models work better. There's a lot less short-term pressure. Launching a token is very distracting also, right? So I think it really depends on what business you're building, and we like to focus on companies that are strong in fundamentals. Yeah.
And did any of your portfolio companies go public? There is quite a big trend.
Well, I mean, going public, not yet, but we have a few, I would say, successful portfolio companies that we're very optimistic about. One of them is BVNK, that today processes more than $30 billion in annualized volume. Where we invested in them, they were doing 1 billion, right? So just over 3 years, they have 30x their growth. And this is a real business, right? That is generating revenue. So that's the kind of businesses that we really like.
Yeah. But it seems Coinbase wanted to buy them for $2 billion, but now they're somehow pausing the deal.
Yeah, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we believe that BVNK is a great company, and they will still continue to grow with or without acquisition, right? So I think that's the kind of we feel fortunate that we got to play a small part on this journey to go along the ride. And with that regard, that's why we launched Onigiri Capital to find the future BVNKs. Yeah.
Great. And as well, how do you see currently the crypto market? Because it's been super volatile.
Up and down.
Like it's quite a big advantage that as VC you invest into equity, not in tokens, because the only performing stuff is probably Bitcoin, maybe a bit Ethereum, Solana, BNB, or just major coins.
True. Look, I think at the end of the day, cryptocurrencies fundamentally remain quite speculative, right? Especially if you look outside of BTC, most things are speculative, right? So I think it really depends. For us as a professional investor, we can't invest in things that we can't put up a strong explanation for, right? And so I think for that reason, we are sticking to the areas that we know. And more importantly, we also have an unfair advantage. So it's more than just investing in the startups. The LPs, the investors of Onigiri Capital, are banks and asset managers across Asia, right? So these can be the distribution partners, the customers, the vendors of our startups, right? And so we really hope to give this unfair advantage to help our portfolio startups to do well. Yeah.
And do you see the development of this industry in the next 2 years?
I mean, we're here in Singapore Fintech Festival, but almost every booth, every talk is talking about blockchain. I think it's going to grow very quickly. And I think the biggest shift that happened this year was regulations coming up everywhere that really accelerated the growth. And it's not just startups that are talking about it. Like literally all the big companies here, the big institutions are embracing it. And I think that's very encouraging for us.
Yeah, so you see it being more institutionalized and more adopted by corporates
Yes.
rather than retail
Yes,
users.
yes. We believe that that's more sustainable. Yeah.
And do you have any price predictions for Bitcoin this year
I
or
don't.
next year?
I wish I could. If I could, I wouldn't be a VC. But no, I would say it's very hard to say, right? Especially in recent the recent weeks have been quite volatile. But we are monitoring the markets. But I think by and large, our opinion is it doesn't change our investment thesis, right? We believe in the role of blockchain in revolutionizing financial services. So no matter how Bitcoin price moves, we will still do what we do.
Do you believe that there still will be altcoin season or not anymore?
Well, I thought that would be. I was hoping that would be, but I think it's hard to say now. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the trends do you see next in the blockchain?
Well, I would say, I mean, of course, a lot of attention is now on this real world assets piece. I think the other one that I'm starting to see emerging, but still is relatively early, is the use cases of blockchain and AI, right? Because AI obviously is taking the world by storm, but it's also creating a lot of content that people are not sure whether it's real, right? Like you create an image, you create text. How do I know whether it's real, right? And I think blockchain plays quite a unique role to help prove, to help verify some of this. It's still very early, to be fair. I haven't really seen very large and successful use cases, but I think it's something that I think could be interesting as this world becomes an AI world.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe you can share as well which AI apps do you use yourself?
ChatGPT usually, and Gemini to a lesser extent. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for interesting conversation and
Thank you.
sharing your experience and your journey with us.
Thank you.